What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. I'm finally back talking about baseball. Today, I have a lineup of only struggling MLB players, the All Struggle Bus Squad. That's right, I put together a lineup, catcher, pitcher, every position you can think of players that are struggling to start the 2025 MLB season. This video is not meant to say that their seasons are over or that these players will suck forever. That is simply not true. There is over 100 more games left to play. But I wanted to talk about baseball. And on top of that, let's be honest, negativity gets views. So what's the most creative way I could think about doing that? Well, I just created a lineup of them. There will also be, if you guys enjoyed this video, an inverse video where I talk about the exceeding expectation squad, the breakout squad, I don't know, whatever. Either way, you get the point, but the way you show me that you want that video is by liking and subscribing. You know the deal. I will also say there's a stipulation I put on this that I can only pick from unique teams. I cannot have repeat teams. Otherwise, that'd be pretty easy. There's like 4 guys on the Royals that I could put in this video. There also has to be some type of expectation on the player. Yeah, I could go in and pick 6 guys off the Miami Marlins who are stinking it up right now, or the White Sox, or the Rockies. I could do that. Wouldn't be any fun, though, so they have to be at least, they have to have shown that they are good players, have had net positive seasons in the past, and they have a certain level of expectations with them. We're going to jump into it right now with my catcher pick. It is Yainer Diaz. Ignore the golfer's tan. I went golfing yesterday. I had the hat on. That explains a lot of it. Either way, Yainer Diaz has been playing very bad for the Houston Astros this season. Yainer Diaz has been very bad this season to the point where Victor Caratini has kind of outshined him. Victor Caratini, of all people. Yainer Diaz currently has an OPS plus sitting at the age of consent. 18 OPS plus. His fielding run value is in the 7th percentile. He has 3 extra base hits on the season. He has accrued negative .3 WAR, where he was a plus catcher last year. I believe in terms of framing, he has been a net negative this season. It's been an all-around bad year for Yainer Diaz. Before this season, I put Yainer Diaz in my top 5 catchers of 2025 video. He's making me kind of eat that already. One of the things that I critiqued Yainer Diaz for last season was the fact that he relied on a lot of ground balls. He had a very high ground ball rate, and let's be honest, ground balls don't often get you paid in the MLB. They don't really keep you successful either. Yainer Diaz had a great year off of like above 47% ground ball rate, which is very high. Well, I guess he listened to me because his fly ball rate is up. It's actually up by about 20%, and it's leading to more pop-ups. That's not ideal, but he is still barreling the ball. So there may be something there still in the long term, but overall, with an OPS plus at 18, you put up negative .3 WAR, and you're not even catching well. His highest run value, I believe, is base running run value right now. He's a catcher, mind you, but he is still barreling the ball, like I said. His exit velocities aren't too bad this season compared to last year. There is still reason to believe that Yainer Diaz could turn it around. However, this whole Houston Astros team just has kind of a funk about them this season. Except for my boy Hunter Brown. I will not throw my boy Hunter Brown into this. He has been stellar. But you really think about this team, Christian Walker is struggling, Jordan Alvarez is struggling, Brendan Rodgers is struggling, obviously Yainer Diaz is struggling like we're talking about. They've had plenty of players just going below expectations this year, and Yainer Diaz was the one that I picked out, especially since I had him in my top 5 potential catchers of 2025 list. Really smacking me in the face right now when Victor Caratini is outperforming him. First base pick on the Struggle Bus team is Willson Contreras, who, as I record, just hit a home run against the Braves in the 9th inning. Not great for the video, but I'm talking about him regardless. Contreras currently sits at the worst K rate and walk rate of his career through 21 games. He has posted a 35 OPS plus, negative .7 WAR. That's a lot. Obviously, this isn't filtering today's stats into the equation, but he has 14 hits and 90 plate appearances. I think that's up to 16 hits and 94 plate appearances, or something along the sort. He has 29 strikeouts. That's a lot. The one interesting stat that I saw when looking at Willson Contreras' Savant page was that I saw that teams are shading him more than ever this season. Last season, 356 plate appearances for Willson Contreras. He was shaded 5 times. 5. It's not a lot at all. This season, 90 plate appearances, Willson Contreras has been shaded 14 times. He's been shaded 15.6% of the time. That's a career high. Even when the shift was allowed, he wasn't getting shifted that much. And honestly, this is the worst time for him to get shaded more than ever because he is pulling the ball more than ever as well. His pull rate is higher than last season, higher than his career norm as well. So maybe defenses are adjusting to him. I saw his stats with and without the shade, and they weren't bad last year. I don't know. I really don't know what caused this sudden switch in defenses to start shading him more. However, it has clearly taken a hit on him, except for today, because like I said, he just hit a home run at the time of recording. So props to him for that, and maybe this is where the season starts to turn for him. I don't know. But negative .7 WAR in 21 games is abominable. At second base for the Struggle Bus squad, I was between three guys. I had three in my mind. It was Marcus Semien, Luis Garcia Jr., Michael Massey. Semien has a teammate who's on this list. He's out automatically. Luis Garcia Jr., I still think can bounce back. I looked at some of his underlying statistics. They didn't look too bad to me, but it's Michael Massey. That's who I have here as the official pick. Think about anything you can do on a baseball field, and Michael Massey has not done it well this year. Well, not anything, because I'm sure he probably still chews about the same amount of seeds as last year. He's probably keeping that average up, but he is currently negative .8 WAR, 34 OPS plus, 3 extra base hits, no home runs. No pop in that bat right now from a guy last year who was a kind of a standout for this Royals team. He has a career low barrel rate, 11.5% pop-up rate. He's getting underneath the ball a lot, and it appears he's making more contact. It's just not quality contact. His exit velos are lower than last year, and while he's never been a big fan of walking, never in Michael Massey's career has he been a big walk guy. It's even lower this year. Like, his walk rate is lower than his career norms, and he was never like an above 20th percentile walk rate kind of guy. And the callback, I did say at the beginning, think of anything you could do on a baseball field and he has struggled with it. Well, Michael Massey has also accrued -2 outs above average and a DRS in the negatives as well. So he's not even holding his own in the field when he is playing. I like the idea at the beginning of the season of India and Massey sharing the infield. Instead, it's probably going to end up Maikel Garcia at some point because he has outperformed both of them, to be honest with you. But Michael Massey has disappointed me beyond belief, because last season he was their third best hitter, I'd say. Pasquantino missed a bunch of time. It was Salvi and Bobby for a majority of the season when the Pasquatch was out, and Michael Massey stepped up. Michael Massey he was getting DH run at some points last season, and he just hasn't had it this year. Maybe he turns it around. I don't know. Maybe last year was just his career big pop year. I have no idea. But his contact quality isn't really there right now, and his walk rate is never going to be there. Doesn't really paint a good picture. The shortstop position, this is an easy one. It's Willy Adames. Everyone's talking about him right now for good reason. He is struggling bad to start the year. While Adames is struggling, obviously the Giants aren't. They're 14-8 at the time of recording, which is really good. Better than the Giants have been. Shout out to Mike Yastrzemski. Unbelievable. And Matt Chapman's always been my guy, but we're going to talk about Willy now. Yeah, this isn't what they paid for. 22 games, negative .6 WAR, 63 OPS plus, 5 extra base hits. 5 extra base hits in a park that plays well for doubles. That definitely doesn't help. I know the home run numbers weren't going to be there simply because, well, the Giants park doesn't play well for right-handed hitters all the time. But I expected doubles to be there because he's a type that can hit. He's a gap power type of guy. But nope, only 5 extra base hits so far. Adames is making less solid contact than in years past as well. This is the lowest barrel rate he's had since his rookie season when he was still in Tampa. Adames' swing tendencies have been similar to career norms, so I'm not truly panicking on that. It's not like he's chasing more or anything like that. It's relatively similar to career norms. Plus, like I just said, the Giants park is more pitcher-friendly than it is hitter-friendly. We all know that. I think it's going to take some time for him to get used to it. I know he popped onto the scene when he got to Milwaukee after the trade from Tampa, but again, Brewers are a team that has a reputation for kind of being a fixer-upper to guys they trade for. The Giants, this was their big free agency acquisition. You really want to see it work, and I still think it can work. I'm such a Willy Adames fan. I believe in him a lot with the Giants, especially with like Matt Chapman and Tyler Fitzgerald, guys like that in the lineup. I'm a big fan. But like I said, with the new park and everything like that, I think we need to give him a little bit more time to adjust before I fully panic and say, well, Adames is over. We are 40 more games into the season. If we're 65, 70 games into the season, let's say, and he's still stinking, all right, now we got to really have some conversations and go back in and do another deep dive maybe. But as for right now, it's kind of tough to say because Willy Adames has been a great player for a few years. Some people are calling him overrated now, and it's like, maybe. I mean, overpay was definitely due because the Giants, unfortunately for them, haven't been able to reel a free agent in a while. So the overpay was there for the Giants. They treated him like their 1A option in free agency, but I don't think overrated is the correct term for Willy Adames. He's a fringe like top 5 type shortstop. It's stacked at shortstop right now. I don't think he's in the top 5. He's fringe, like he's definitely like top 10 though. But it sucks because Adames was kind of supposed to be like a fulcrum for this team. Instead, he's kind of turned into a handicap. I don't know how else to describe it. He's been very bad. The Giants have not though, so it's not like they're really missing his production. They would be better with it, but it's not like they've been, absolutely horrific and they need him. So shout out to the Giants, but also Willy Adames, got to get it together. Third base pick is the obvious one. I'm pretty sure Jolly Olive just made a video about this guy. It's Alec Bohm, and I don't like it. He's been turning it around more recently, though, I will say. I don't know if there's been a worse start to the season imaginable than what Alec Bohm has been going through, and it's kind of a repeat of what the second half of last year really was for him. An absolute dread of a season so far. He's produced negative 1.1 WAR. He has 1 walk to 16 strikeouts. He has 5 extra base hits and a 33 OPS plus. Bohm's defense has always been shaky and up and down. Last year, it wasn't bad. The seasons prior, it's been completely a mixed bag for what you can get out of him defensively. This season has not been pretty. And as mentioned by a lot of people before, he's a big body language guy. When things are going well, Alec Bohm is there. When things are not going well, you start to notice him more, but not notice him at the same time because he's not producing. There are some signs that he could turn this around, though. 83rd percentile in hard hit rate, 94th percentile in squared up percentage, 76th percentile in average exit velo. I mean, he's still hitting the ball hard. The proof's in the pudding right there. His eye has always been an issue. Again, never been a big fan of walks, but he is in the 1st percentile in walk rate. First. That means there's nobody in baseball who walks less than him, really. A couple more interesting notes for Alec Bohm. 54% of his batted balls have gone up the middle, not pulling the ball, not going oppo, just kind of going up the middle. I guess there's nothing really wrong with that. But his pull percentage is a career low, which I think there is some trouble in that. Issue also is that he's hitting too many ground balls. Far too many ground balls when we know Alec Bohm is a line drive, gap power, doubles type of guy. Yes, he was in the home run derby, but he was also like the doubles leader midway through the season, and then the second half got ugly for him. It really did get ugly for him. But he can be a gap hitter type of guy. I think he'll have a month where he evens this out. It could be next month because the end of this month has shown some promising signs for Alec Bohm. He had a 2-hit game the other day. He's had a hit in like the last 5 games, so he's definitely coming around slowly. But I still want to see some extra base hit power out of him because singles are cool and all, don't get me wrong. But Alec Bohm is not a singles hitter. He's been a gap slapper for his entire career, it feels like. All right, we can move on to outfield now. Instead of going left field, center field, right field, I just went outfield, outfield, outfield because I didn't want to be that specific, if I'm being honest. The first outfield spot I picked was Luis Robert Jr., Lou Bob. Point where I can't really tell if this is the Lou Bob we're going to get for a while now or if 2023 Lou Bob will ever be back. I really can't tell. Robert currently sits with a 62 OPS plus and 3 extra base hits. He has 10 total hits, but I will give credit where it's due. There is some credit due for him. His walk rate is higher than ever. Like, he is walking more than ever, and it's not even really close for a guy who's never really had a great eye. He's always been a high swing and miss guy. But he's also going to the opposite field more, which, well, good and bad in that, honestly. Being a more complete hitter, there's nothing wrong with that. He has a better eye. He's developing an eye at the plate. He can take a ball and take a walk here and there. And on top of that, he's going opposite field. That just shows, I think, that he's seeing the ball well. He's just not hitting it very well. But part of the issue is with him going opposite field more, it means he's pulling less balls. That means he's getting, well, less extra base hit power. I know you can get extra base hits to the right side. I'm not an idiot, don't get me wrong. But we all know that getting it on the pull side is the way to get your hardest hit balls most of the time. He's another one just like Bohm where his ground ball rate is way too high. He currently sits at 46.7% ground ball rate. Really high right there, especially for a guy who had like a 35 home run season a couple of years ago. I don't know. Feels weird that he's hitting a lot of ground balls now. Luis Robert's average exit velo last season was in the 68th percentile, which isn't bad. But this season it's currently at 11th percentile. His bat speed is faster than last season. I can't really tell what's going on here, to be honest with you. Even though his stats are down, he just isn't hitting the ball as hard. He's not crushing the ball as often as he is. But he has become a better hitter, quote unquote, in a sense where he's seeing the ball better, it seems. Like, he's taking walks. And I know he hasn't been hitting the ball as well, but he's taking walks, and that's something that's been a knock on Luis Robert for a while now. The fact that he's kind of a wild swinger, and he wants to crush the ball all the time rather than taking a walk if the pitcher will give it to him. Well, now he's taking it. He's just not hitting the ball as hard. Maybe there will be a come-around period where he starts hitting the ball hard again, and he's walking. That would be peak Luis Robert. But as for right now, we're kind of getting an underwhelming Lou Bob. Outfielder number 2, it is Mr. Don't Start None, Won't Be None. It's Tommy Pham. In 21 games, Tommy Pham has logged a 26 OPS plus. He has 10 hits, 3 for extra bases, not a single home run to speak of, and negative .2 WAR. Some interesting notes I had down for Tommy Pham. He has 47 batted balls this season. He's barreled this many of those 47. He currently sits at a 13% fly ball rate, lowest of his career, but he also sits at a career high in pop-up rate. That's not a good combination. All around dreadful season for Tommy Pham. Pittsburgh fans were calling for his head after like the first week. Yeah, there's some crazy people in Pittsburgh. Don't get me wrong, they're passionate. Maybe age regression. Don't want to be mean, but it's true. He is 37 years old. He's been a hired hitter type guy for the last few years, where it's like he'll sign with a bad team and then end up on a good one come playoffs because a good team will trade for him or pick him up after a DFA. The Royals did it last year. But simply put, he's just not hitting the ball very well. And on top of that, his outfielding, he's been fine. He plays a fine outfield still, so there's something there. But if he can't hit the ball, and one of his biggest things was his ability to really hit the ball, he's not doing it right now. But I will say, I was looking at his baseball reference page, and man, I forgot about 2017 Tommy Pham. 6.3 baseball reference WAR. 2017 Tommy Pham, basically 6.5 B WAR. That's nuts. The last outfield spot, we're going to Cleveland. Well, we're going from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. It's Lane Thomas. I was a big fan of Lane Thomas with the Nationals. I didn't expect this when he was traded to Cleveland. If you go back in time and you look at some of my older videos, you will see me gassing up that trade move like it was going to help them, and it has not. This move has actually been so bad to the point where he's kind of embraced being a reserve for the team, like coming off of the bench for them, being a defensive sub or being a base running replacement. It's not great for a guy that you traded for and who's put together really good seasons before. The fact that Lane Thomas has only played 13 games, but he has logged negative .6 WAR, that's impressive, but also gross. He currently has 15 strikeouts, 7 hits. You do the math on that one, that's not good. His OPS plus is currently sitting below the age of consent. It is at 8. He still holds some value because, like I said, defensively, still really good. He's got good legs on him too, so he can steal bases as well if need be. So if like John Kensey draws a walk, here comes big Lane Thomas. The thing is, the guy was actually able to hit in Washington. I mean, this has been an incredibly bad year for Lane Thomas. This season, Lane Thomas is in the 10th percentile or lower in all of the following stats: xWOBA, expected batting average, expected slugging, K rate, walk rate, barrel rate. Wow. Like I said before, Lane Thomas was pretty bad last season when he came over to Cleveland at the mid-season point, and I figured, all right, he's just not comfortable there. You know, the playoffs came quick, and he kind of was just shoved in there, and he wasn't comfortable. Cool. All right. Let's give him a full off season. He can work out with those guys. He can learn the stadium better, learn the city better, and get himself acclimated. No, it's been just as bad. Probably worse, actually. This is an absolute bottom out for a guy that, honest to God, I wanted my favorite team, the New York Yankees, to trade for. I really did. I felt as though with Washington, the stuff he was doing was going to stick. He had a decent walk rate. He was getting on base. He was swiping bags and playing good defense. I mean, he seemed like a really good addition, or a third outfielder type. And this has been an absolute bottom out season for Lane Thomas. Designated hitter, this one's easy. It's Joc Pederson. This is just as easy as like the Willy Adames pick. Joc Pederson has been absolutely terrible. He has 62 plate appearances and 3 hits. His OPS plus is a negative 32. Negative 32. He's currently at negative 1.1 WAR. There may not be a less valuable player in baseball than him right now. And it's pretty impressive considering it's not like he's playing bad defense. It's not like he's an awful base runner and that's contributing to the low WAR. No, it's just all his inability to hit because he does nothing else on the field. He's a pure designated hitter. Currently has a career low barrel rate, sweet spot launch angle, and hard hit rate. He's just not hitting the ball right now. A couple other fun notes for Joc Pederson. He hasn't had a hit since the 2nd of April. I am recording this on the 21st, and he hasn't had a hit since the 2nd. But let's be a little bit nicer to him. Let's see, when was the last time he got on base? Actually, the last time he got on base was the 10th. 20 days without a hit, 10 days without getting on base. Absolutely insane. It's been an absolutely dreadful season for my guy Joc, and it's a shame because I was a big fan of the Pearls when he was with Atlanta. I was a fan of him when he was a Dodger. Even though I hate the Dodgers, I love Joc Pederson. I've always been a really big fan of him, and I thought the move to the Rangers would strengthen the Rangers. And again, just like a Willy Adames, I thought he'd be like a fulcrum of the team, where it's like, dang, we can lean on him for portions of the season because guys like Seager miss time. And instead, -1 WAR from a guy who doesn't even play the field is nuts to me. And we gotta have a pitcher, right? I mean, you can't have a full team without a pitcher. I didn't do relievers because relievers are this up and down, up and down. It's like the waves in the ocean with relievers. One year they're the best reliever in the world, and the next minute they're not. So I chose a starting pitcher, and I could have gone with a Tanner Bibee type, who I was such a fan of last year. But I already picked Lane Thomas. Can't be Tanner Bibee. So instead, I went a little bit closer in the AL East. It's Charlie Morton from the Orioles. Morton currently has 5 starts, 25 earned runs, 15 walks, 21 strikeouts. That's not good. I'll let you do the math on that one for walk to strikeout ratio. ERA sits at 10.8. 10.8. His average exit velocity sits at 92.6, which is troubling for a guy who often relies on inducing weak contact. He's not much of a strikeout pitcher anymore. The last few years, his K9 has fallen under like 10, which is still respectable. It's in the 9s. But again, he more relies on soft contact now. He doesn't really blow hitters out of the water with a fastball or anything like that anymore. So when he's not even getting weak contact, what is he doing? I guess the most troubling part, though, is the fact that he sits at 6.5 walks per 9. He's never been a big walk guy. Again, Charlie Morton's always been the type to attack and induce weak contact, at least for the last few years. But with the walks up at 6.5 per 9, again, what is he doing? I looked at his pitch percentages. He's using his curveball less than ever, but to me, I think that's more of a result of him falling behind in counts and walking hitters. You get into that 2-0 count, I don't think you're going to break out the curveball. You're going to need a fastball there, and he's kind of forcing himself into a lot of fastball counts and basically ruling out his curveball, which has been his best pitch for, I don't know, ever. I have a couple of conspiracy theories as to why he may be struggling. Since 2017, he's only really played with warm weather South teams, Atlanta, Houston, you know what I mean? These southern teams. Tampa Bay was in there. And since then, that's all he's played with is those southern teams that are more warm. Now he's back in Baltimore. Well, not back in Baltimore. He's back in a colder state. You know what I mean? In Baltimore. And maybe he's just not accustomed to pitching in the cold again. I don't know. That's just a theory. It's a game theory, bud. My other working theory is that he may just be washed. I love Charlie Morton when he was in his prime. You know, the curveball was filthy. And it's always nice to see a guy with a rainbow curveball making it work because the curveball's kind of going out of style nowadays. But he is 41 years old after all. And if this is the end of the salt, man, so be it. 41 years old. If he stinks it up this year, he probably just walks off into the sunset. But I really wanted him to be better with Baltimore. And I thought this Baltimore Orioles pitching staff would be better than it is. Instead, it's probably the worst in the league, or at least competing with like the Colorados of the world. You enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. Like I said at the beginning, let me know down below if you guys would want a exceeding expectations team. Also, comment some other guys who are struggling on your favorite team. Maybe somebody on your favorite team struggling that I haven't talked about. I can talk about them. We can always have a chat in the comment section. You know that. Like, subscribe, like I said. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for joining.